In early 2020, the world fell silent. Airports emptied, cities grew still, and the streets that once hummed with life became echoes of their former selves. It was the year the world stopped, not because of war or disaster, but because of something invisible: a virus. They called it COVID-19. It began as a whisper, a cluster of cases in Wuhan, China. But within weeks, that whisper became a storm that swept across the planet. Borders shut, flights were grounded, and suddenly billions of people found themselves inside their homes, behind closed doors, watching the world through glass and screens. For the first time in modern history, humanity shared the same experience: fear, uncertainty, and isolation. But also, hope. The word lockdown entered every language. At first, it sounded temporary, a pause, a short break from normal life. But the days became weeks, and the weeks turned into months. People learned to live in a new rhythm. Children studied through computer screens. Grandparents waved to their families through windows. Weddings were postponed, funerals held over video calls, and hospital rooms became the front lines of a global battle. Doctors and nurses worked until they collapsed, covered in masks and sweat, carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. They became heroes, though many never wanted to be. Outside, the world changed in ways no one expected. The skies cleared, pollution dropped, animals roamed empty streets, and the earth seemed to take a deep breath. For the first time in decades, the Himalayas were visible from cities hundreds of kilometers away. It was as if nature was reminding us how quickly she could heal, if only we stopped long enough to notice. But the silence was not peaceful for everyone. Behind many doors, there was loneliness, anxiety, and grief. Families mourned loved ones they could not hold. Millions lost jobs, savings, and security. The virus did not just attack bodies, it tested hearts, minds, and societies. Yet amid the darkness, humanity adapted. We learned new words: quarantine, social distancing, flatten the curve. We clapped for health workers from balconies. We sang from windows to remind ourselves we weren't alone. Scientists raced across borders and time zones to develop vaccines in record time. And when those vaccines arrived, they carried more than medicine. They carried hope. Lockdown taught us how fragile our normal life really was, and how strong we could be when everything fell apart. We learned that connection does not need touch, and that kindness can travel faster than any virus. We rediscovered the meaning of enough. Enough food, enough safety, enough love. And in that stillness, many began to see what truly mattered: family, health, time. When the world finally reopened, it did not feel the same. There was joy, yes, but also loss, reflection, and gratitude. People hugged longer, they laughed louder, and they looked at the world, and at one another, a little differently. The lockdown of 2020 will be remembered not just as a crisis, but as a mirror. It showed us both our fragility and our resilience. The virus changed the world, but it also reminded us that even in isolation, we are never truly alone. Because when the world stopped, humanity kept going.